What is going on YouTube? Another video coming at you from the Washington Command Post. This is Commander Plank coming at you with another video. Today we are going to do a little bit of a mock draft. Probably going to do a couple mock drafts, honestly. And what I mean by that is we're going to do mock drafts on different draft windows, or whatever you want to call it, draft engines. Might be a better way to put it. And the reason why is because every draft engine kind of prioritizes things a little bit differently. So since I can't actually do the draft, I'm going to do this to kind of show what Washington should do. Okay, so I'm going to do two of these. I'm going to do one on this one and then do it with trade downs. Okay. Now Washington, if you've ever been to this website, it's called first-pick.com/NFL. It's just first-pick.com. You create a login, and you can do whatever you'd like to do. I'm going to do a new draft under Washington. Now, right now, Washington, I've actually done some pretty good ones on here. The highest one is, am I top 10? Nope. Okay. I'm in top 20. Am I? Nope. Okay. Washington has not a lot of picks this year, but they have the first round, second round, fourth, sixth, seventh. Now, my personal opinion, Washington should trade down this year. I think they should trade back. So I'm going to skip to my pick. So you trade back, like for example, you can trade back one pick and get a call. I mean, this isn't accurate or how it's going to be in real life. I understand that it's just a draft engine, but there is availability to trade down. So for example, and I'm gonna do this and just to show you what can be done. So now that accumulated another first round pick and a third round pick. So if we skip to the next part, and now we can draft. For example, Jahan Dotson, Tyron Burks, Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams is one that people are liking. So we can literally do one trade down and give someone the ability to. They can trade up. We can get a lot of extra picks. And who chose Chris? Okay, they got Garrett Wilson. Okay, so to me, Washington. I'm going to end this draft. I'm just giving an example here. So I'm going to do another draft, and I'm actually not going to trade down. So I'm going to trade. I just wanted to show that there's a lot of potential because if Washington does trade down and they have that capability, and they can get a lot of extra things that they need. This is one of the deepest drafts ever. COVID kept a lot of these guys in college for another year, so this is one of the deepest drafts ever, and we have the fewest amount of picks. So it makes sense that Washington should trade down and get extra draft capital. Or trade back, I should say. Okay? So, for example, I restarted this, and I guess Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave are actually going a little sooner now. So, like, for example, New York Jets would be another one. So there's a lot of receivers that I think Washington will take a receiver first round. There's a lot of good ones. So, for example, Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave... Olave are two of the better ones. There are other ones out there. So, for example, if you look at the ones, Drake London is a very good receiver that we can pick up. Jameson Williams, which I gave a shout out to Street Scores. He kind of turned me on to him. I looked up some stuff after Street Scores brought him up. Traylon Burks is not bad. There's actually, you could probably go later rounds and still get a receiver. Jahan Dotson from Penn State. I don't know if anyone wants to get a name that sounds like Dotson because of our past history. But there's so many options Washington has when it comes to the draft. So, yeah, I think they'll draft a receiver in the first round. I think they can still trade back and get that. I think this website, what it does, I think it takes a lot of the drafting that people do and it creates like needs, and it automatically fills those needs. So I think a lot of people think their team wants a great receiver, so they take a great receiver when they do this, when like a Packer fan gets on here. So I think the website builds that in, and it creates like what people want, and that's why the picks are going higher. But a lot of receivers are not going to go very high in the draft, at least not in the top 10, because there's other needs that people have. A lot of quarterbacks won't go that high either. So yeah, so if I'm doing this draft, I'm just going to pick one just to go to the next round. So let's say we got Drake London. Drake London would be a great complement to Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel and Terry McLaurin. Terry is a deep threat / like solid route runner. He's kind of a good jack of all trades. He can do everything. And he actually does a lot of those things very well. He can get deep. He's a good route runner. He's catch the ball in traffic. He can take a hit. Curtis Samuel was like our version of Debo Samuel. He can run the ball. He can catch the ball. He can take a screen, take it to the house. You gotta get the ball in his hands. Drake London would be a great compliment because we need a deep ball or a jump ball threat, a big receiver, a physical big receiver. Which, if you watched my channel a couple years ago, I thought DK Metcalf instead of Dwayne Haskins would have been a great pick because you could have had DK Metcalf and Terry McLaurin in the same draft. And imagine right now if this team had DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin, and Curtis Samuel. Just imagine the possibilities we have with that. But I'm not going to get into that part right now. But I do want to show, like, second round, Washington needs to get in the second round. See, this is another one. See, Carson Strong is not going to go 13th pick in the second round. He's not. Okay, he's going to go probably late second, maybe as low as like the middle third, but he is not going to go 13th pick in the second round. Okay, Washington needs to fill the inside linebacker role. Now they've been BSing people for a while, saying, "Oh, we think this," and that. They're just trying. It's smoke and mirrors. And I think they're going to draft Chad Muma. Now, I think this will be a B+, or that's an A-. Okay. I've done this before, and it's usually gotten me like a B+, because it's like a little bit of a reach. Like, you can probably get him like a little bit later in the second round. But, yeah, Washington, Chad Muma, very solid option, very solid pick. I think Washington could definitely use his athleticism. I think he's faster than Cole Holcomb. He's not quite as fast as Jamin Davis, but he has more. He's more instinctual. Now, this is where people are going to debate what Washington really needs. Washington really needs. What do they really, really need right now? So right now we only have like one tight end or two tight ends on the roster that are healthy. John Bates, Sammis Reyes. Sammis Reyes, if he's good to go, like if he's like understands football now, like he's new to football. He's never played football before. He's just a freakishly big athlete. So that wouldn't be a bad option. But John Bates is definitely solid. We're good with John Bates. I like him. That was a good draft pick last. Probably one of our best draft picks last year. Next to Samuel Cosme. But if you're looking at what Washington needs, we just let go of two defensive linemen. So defensive tackle would be a very big pickup. We could definitely use one, especially if we're going to lose Deron Payne next year. We haven't re-signed him. So are we moving on? Are we getting someone else? I don't know. We just let go of Tim Settle and we let go of Matt Ioannidis. So we're in a position where we need to fill a void, and we don't have any depth at that position right now. At least we haven't signed any, not to my knowledge, at least. So defensive line would be a good pickup. I do have one later in the draft that we could pick up, and he'd be solid for just clogging up space. So really, the two needs for Washington, and everyone keeps saying secondary. I believe personally, this is my belief, Ron is going to stick by his guns on what he's done with the secondary. Last year, he drafted Benjamin St. Juste. I think he's going to roll with that. So you're going to have Benjamin St. Juste. You're going to have Cleo, get down. Oh, okay, you're on the window. Go ahead. Okay, that's fine. That's my cat. Sorry. You're going to have, who's the other? William Jackson III. That's your other guy. And then you also have Kendall Fuller. Solid QB or a cornerback group right there. I also think that he's going to roll with his draft pick when it comes to Derek Forrester or whatever his name is. He likes Cameron Curl. He just signed Bobby McCain. And he also, I don't know if we still have Jeremy Reeves, but we might still have Jeremy Reeves, which honestly, Jeremy Reeves and Cameron Curl were our better tandem. It's the best tandem we've had. We don't have DeShazier Everett anymore, but he didn't really play that much anyway. So I don't think our secondary is going to be something we're going to address in the draft. I think we're probably going to go tight end because it's going to be cheaper than what's out there on the market. We're probably going to go defensive line. So right now I'm going to look at the tight ends available in the fourth round, and there's a couple. There's a couple that I like. This is the one I like really a lot is Charlie Keller. And it's not that I like him per se. It's just that Iowa State, for some reason, puts out good tight ends. Like you look at the last handful that came out of Iowa State, they've been very good. They've been very good tight ends in the NFL. So that's one option. You also can go defensive tackle, and you have a couple options here as well. You have some guys from big name schools that could definitely do well playing alongside some very good talent like, Chase Young and Montez Sweat and Jerron Payne. So they could definitely do well with the fact that they're going to get a single blocked every time because everyone else is going to get double teamed and going to get a lot more attention. I don't see much other positions that we're really going to need to fill other than possibly we might get an offensive lineman. And like I said, we only have 4 picks left. We need to get a tight end, maybe 2 defensive linemen, and maybe an offensive tackle, and that'd pretty much be it. This is why I think Washington will trade down. There's just not a lot of guys available. There's not a lot of capability available here when it comes to the amount of picks we have. So if you go by best available player, there are some guys that are like day 2 picks that you can get if they want to do that. I don't think Washington's going to want to do that. They're going to want to fill holes, and I personally think it's going to be tight end Charlie Keller. And then we're into the 6th round. Now in the 6th round, we gotta get offensive linemen somehow. So in this case, I'm just gonna pick a utility offensive lineman, one that can play both, Andrew Stuber. And then in the 7th round, that's when I'll pick our defensive tackles. Now we also could go running back here. That's possible as well. Running back would be not a bad option as well if we just want to get one defensive lineman. But I think in this draft, Washington, it would behoove them, and if you don't know, I mean, it means to be in their best interest. It would behoove them to go the route of getting 2 defensive tackles. That would be their best interest. They may go the route of just getting a running back, but it's possible. So I'm going to pick the best available. Alabama puts out good players, so I'm going to pick Alabama. So if you don't trade back and you go with where you're at in the draft, this is what Washington could get, and I don't think it's bad. I think it's about what you're going to get at every position, at every spot. Possibly the names change. It could be a different name that's listed here. It could be Chris Olave at 11. It could be Garrett Wilson at 11. So that's possible. Chad Muma. You could go, what's the kid from Christian? I can't think of his last name. From Alabama, linebacker from Alabama. So there are options at the position, but these are the main positions I think Washington will fulfill in this draft. Now, I'm going to do another one real quick. And this is, let's just go some scenario here where Washington actually trades back. Okay. It's our pick, Washington's pick. And we're going to take a trade back. We're going to take the one closest to us, which is Baltimore. Skip to the pick. Okay. So they took Drake London in that place. Okay, that's fine. We can trade back again if we want to, and we get another draft pick. I'm of the mindset that I don't know if I want to do that. The way this draft engine is going, it looks like Garrett Wilson went number 2 overall. That does not make sense to me at all. That's probably why the Lions are bad every year. So I'm gonna roll the dice and go back one more time. And that'll get us another 3rd round pick, and Chris Olave just got taken. Great. So now there's other receivers, and then Jameson Williams is a very fast receiver. That's still what we're going to pick in the 1st round. So now we have a couple of extra 2nd round picks. So if we go to our next pick, we're still looking at a specific player to get at inside linebacker. There's also some other players available. For example, this has been something I've been seeing a lot of. Fidarius Mathis from Alabama. This would be a great reason why you trade back. If you trade back and you get an extra 2nd round pick, you could grab Fidarius Mathis. He is a 1st round talent. I've seen this a dozen times at least. He is a 1st round talent, and then you still get the linebacker you want. So now you fulfilled the role of defensive tackle with a guy who could probably start next year if you end up moving on from Jerron Payne, and then you still get the linebacker you want. You still get a good receiver. It may not be the receiver that Washington was looking to get. I wish Chris Olave would have fallen a little bit, but it's still a very good receiver in Jameson Williams. Very fast. It's hard to cover. He's very hard to cover. And then you get Fidarius Mathis. I've done this. I'm probably like 100 of these. I go to work and I do like 2 of these every morning just to kind of get a feel for what will fall where on this website. Fidarius Mathis, let's say he falls 2nd round. Now you have a defensive tackle that could back up both Jerron Payne and Jonathan Allen and can play right away. And if need be, if need be, he can play next year if we get rid of if Deron Payne is not re-signed or extended. Okay, so now we actually have a 3rd round pick. So let's move to the next round. Now, what I say was our next pick. In the 4th round, we went tight end. 3rd round, we might actually be able to get an offensive lineman here. Or we can go best available if you do feel that Washington needs to get a cornerback. Or hell, maybe Washington could get a quarterback at this point if you want to. I actually like Carson Strong. I think Carson Strong, he played an entire year on a hurt knee and still threw for 4,000 passing yards in like 12 games. This guy can throw the football, and getting him in the 3rd or 4th round is not going to it shouldn't upset, let me rephrase this, it should not upset Carson Wentz that we're getting a quarterback at that time. So I could trade back again, actually. I could trade Baltimore and go back 16 spots. I'm not going to do that. So, okay, so here's what else is available. You have a slightly better tight end, Jeremy Ruckert from Ohio State. Jeremy Ruckert is a very solid tight end. I wouldn't mind having him in the burgundy and gold. And you just have a lot more available to you. There's best available guys everywhere. Okay? If you wanted to get a cornerback here, you could, and then still get the tight end in the next round that we were just talking about. You can get another inside linebacker if you want to add depth. You can get a whole bunch of things here. Okay? But I think I'm just gonna stick with my guns on the tight end aspect. I'm gonna go with Ed Ingram, offensive guard, and then go to my pick again, and I'm gonna go to tight end, and we're still back on pace with what we were doing earlier. Okay, so now in the 6th, 7th, and the next 3 picks, we don't have to get a defensive lineman. It's not dire. We don't have to get an offensive tackle. That's a little bit lower grade. What we can do instead is Washington needs to get maybe a running back. So we can get a running back now. We want some depth. There's Hassan Haskins. The name Haskins is scary, but Jeremiah Hall was pretty good. Pierre Strong Jr. wouldn't be bad either. Let's just go with, I'm familiar more with Haskins than any of them, so I'll go Haskins right there. Then in the 7th round, we can get, I don't know what we're going to get here. We can get a utility member in the secondary. We can get a whole bunch of things. There's a whole bunch of things we have available to us now. Okay? But I still think we'll get a defensive tackle. I'll just get the defensive tackle now. We'll grab something after this. Defensive tackle, Dante Stills. There's some more depth. And then the last pick. Let's just say, I don't know. Maybe Washington thinks they need to get 2 tight ends this year because they're not confident in Sammis Reyes. So maybe they get a 2nd tight end. Let's just grab one, SMU. There we go. So now look at this. This is a completely different look as to what we had earlier. Yes, the one we had earlier, we don't trade back. It's a solid pickup. You get a starting wide receiver, a playmaking wide receiver right away, and you get potentially a starting middle linebacker right away. And then a good depth piece for tight end. And then everything else we're getting is just question marks. We are not getting any depth on the defensive line. We're not getting any of those things. So this is why trading back to me is the best option. This is a very loaded draft. You can get starters as low as the 4th round now. Charlie Keller is a starter. But we added in 2 guys that could potentially play right away just by trading back. Do we lose potentially a player we want? Sure, we do. I want Chris Olave, and I wouldn't mind Drake London either. Will we lose that? Yes, but Jameson Williams is not a scrub. He's a very good receiver. We already have a number. Trading back, it's worth it to me. You can fill more than one spot, and yeah, I think it's the best option for Washington is to trade back and accumulate draft picks to accumulate talent. We are strapped to the cap because we traded for Carson Wentz, and it's not a bad thing we traded, but the problem with that is you just don't have money elsewhere. So how you make that up? You draft guys. You get more picks. You get 4th and 3rd round picks that can be used for multiple things that can fill voids on your team as long as you trust in your coaching. And Ron does trust in his coaching. So that would be, honestly, I think the best bet for Washington is to go the route of trading back, getting extra picks, and and then we fill a lot of the needs we have. So that's my video. I want to thank everyone for watching. This has been Commander Plank. And follow me on Instagram. On Twitter. It's Commander J Plank. And then like, share, subscribe to this channel, and you get videos like this all the time. Appreciate you stopping by, and hail to the Commanders. See ya.